and welcome to the Scary Goals Club. I am your host, Hazel Robertson, and I believe that to make the impact that you know you are called to make in the world, it requires setting bigger, scarier goals and then becoming the person who creates them. That is what I am here to show you how to do. That's what we're diving into with mindset, tools, tricks, really simple, practical, actionable steps you can take and start applying straight away. Because whatever you believe, we have this one life that we definitely know about. Start making the impact you know you want to make in the world. Fear is not a reason to stop. We keep going. We work through the fear. That is what we do in the Scary Goals Club. So come on in, come join, hit subscribe, and let's get started. Hi, and welcome to the Scary Goals Club podcast. I am your host, Hazel Robertson. And I am sitting down today, but it is not the comfiest chair. I've put like two cushions under, and I think I might need to with this baby bump going a little bit. I think I might need to take my podcast recording to a comfier seat or take it somewhere else or drag a seat through here. Anyway, I'm here. Here we are. And there was something this morning. I was like, I'm going to share this. It's a little bit random, but I'm going to share it. And then we will dive into today's podcast, which is all about time and how to bend time. Okay. So if that sounds a little bit vague and you're like, wait, what? What is this? What is going on? We will dive into that. But today, I've been testing out something. And if you are like me and have ADHD, this might be something that you tend to do as well, where I'll have, it's like, there's clothes that I wear, like I don't wash everything straight after I wear it. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll give it like a little sniff, like jumpers or like something like this shirt, for example, like it might, or like some trousers, they'll get like a few wears. And what I used to do was things that I'd worn that I wasn't ready to wash yet, I would just like drape over my chest of drawers. I didn't always want to like put them back in because then I was like, are they actually clean? Do I know that I've worn them? Like I didn't really have like a system or anything. And I guess just being in the new house and like trying to figure out, okay, what are some of the systems? What are some ways that could work for me? But anyway, what used to happen is either they would like pile up somewhere, they'd pile up on the floor, I'd like leave them somewhere. There would just be like piles of clothes. And so I couldn't actually see what was in the piles. And then I would go to my wardrobe and like wear something else and then put it on the pile of like, I could still rewear this. And what I have done that has been, it sounds so simple. And this is like, anyway, I'm going to share it just in case it's helpful for you. Is anything that I have worn, so like a lot of my stuff, just the way that the cupboards are set up in the place we're in now, there's a lot more hanging space than I had before. So I'm actually hanging a lot more stuff. And so when I have worn like a jumper or a t-shirt or whatever, and I'm like, actually, it's got another use in it, I'm hanging it back up. I'm turning the hanger the other way around. So like I can very quickly go into my cupboard and be like, oh, I wore that. I've worn that jumper already. Cool. I'll prioritize wearing that one again. Or if I want to wear another one, then it's like at least I know that that's a clean one and that's been worn, but like has other use out of it. And so it's almost like I can give something a couple uses and then be like, okay, and now it's time to wash it. So stuff's not going in it. Like I'm not piling stuff up in a pile and then being like, oh, I forgot all about this. And then just having to like wash all the stuff anyway. So it's like cutting down on washing, cutting down on the piles of clothes that I used to have of like, it's not quite ready to, I don't want to hang it back up, but it's not quite ready to be washed yet. That then would end up like I'd forgetting about it and be washing anyway. So it's not having piles like lying around. And it's such a simple system. But anyway, I just thought I would share that in case I like love my brain. My brain needs systems to help me just like know where things are, know what's going on. Like, and I actually think quite well in systems. Like, I love figuring out how to make something that's like a repeatable process or system so that it's actually so much easier and it doesn't take as much thought. Like anything to get basically I was trying to like to look about this and I guess it's like basically have like a lazy brain that like any small like I can do massive endurance runs, expeditions, like all of that, like huge, big goals. Great. The smallest, tiniest things can completely derail me. And I know this is common with ADHD, where it's like, or even if I say I was like on an expedition, I would be so rigorous with like, I would know exactly where like my food bag was, my snacks were, everything would be like organized and packed. So it's like when I go into a pocket, I know that there's a snack in there or like whatever, or like I go into this part of the bag, I know that I can get my water or whatever. Anything where I'm having to search for something, having to figure out where something is or remember where something is, anything that's using up. I think like that's part of it. Here we go. I'll get onto this podcast episode, but this is I think important. Anything where like I think with knowing how my brain works now and actually being kind to myself and knowing that I have variable energy and that is part of being someone that's been diagnosed with ADHD. I have bursts of creativity and like everything feels like it's going and it's flowing and I have so much energy. And I can be social and interacting and all of that. And then I need to rest. I need to just decompress, meditate, have some quiet, have some stillness, go to bed really early. Like my brain, because it is working and thinking and like all of these things are going on, it can be super fast and go, 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 go. And I can have a lot of energy and like come across like I have a lot of energy. And with that comes a lot of rest as well. And it used to be I used to beat myself up because it's like, why am I just this like same output all the time as we're fed from society? It's like productivity and you work 9 to 5 and you like have the same output. And it's like, that is just not how I work. I will have a day, hours, days of just like unbelievable progress and creativity and ideas. And that uses up so much energy that then that will come with almost like what feels like a slump. It can feel like such a contrast to what's been the previous week or the previous few days, especially if you're a woman, you have cycles as well. Like there's all of the hormones as well. And I don't beat myself up for that anymore. I just know that this is just part of how I am and how my brain works. And so I know that when I take care of myself and I'm kind to myself in the times that things feel a bit harder, I don't have as much energy, as much creativity, as much like ideas and momentum, that if I just like take care of myself, I will very quickly come back to when I feel a bit more in my like flowy space. So I know for me that rest is important. I also know that because I have variable energy levels, like anything that uses my energy that just doesn't feel like a good use of energy, I find really frustrating. And obviously, frustration uses energy. So I don't get frustrated about it, but I notice it. I maybe used to get frustrated and be like, now I can notice it. And if it's something that I'm going to be doing a lot or something that's going to come up, especially things like around the house, around our like how we approach our work and our like inboxes and emails and for me like booking calls and like all of this kind of stuff, anything where I can, it's like something that's going to be done again and again and again, the quicker I can build and figure out, okay, what is the most effective way for me to do this, try it out, adjust it, tweak it, keep adjusting it, the sooner it's like, okay, I just know what to do and then I don't have to think about it and it doesn't become this thing. It's like it's kind of like it's like a time and brain energy investment in building some kind of system or repeatable process that then is going to save you so much time and energy in the future. This is one way to bend time. There we go. We've like tied it into today's episode. But it's like the micro like the micro stuff I find on the day-to-day basis, on a day-to-day basis adds up. Like the micro friction of going to do something or get something and around the house, for example, like seeing a pile of clothes and being like, oh, I have to like sort that or what's in it, or I don't know what's in it. Like anything that's going to cut down on that, where I go to get something and it's in its place, and I've put something back in its place and everything has a place. Or I go into my like wardrobe now and I know, okay, cool, I can wear this again and then I will wash it. Or like I can, everything's like organized and I can see everything. I think that's it. That's one of the amazing things about not having that many clothes is like I can just see everything. So I know what I have. And anything I'm not, especially at the moment with like not fitting so many of my clothes like pre pregnancy, I actually just take them out of my wardrobe. They're all in a bag. Like, well, they've not gone up to the loft yet, but they're getting added to like going up to the loft. It's like I'm only going to have stuff in there that I like and that fits me and that I feel good in. Everything else, I'm like, no, it either goes out, goes up to the loft, or I'll like make a decision on it another time. Anyway, that is a slight tangent, but I do want to. So anyway, the takeaway for you is just: are there moments throughout your day, and really tune into it, where there feels like there's some kind of friction, there's something that like takes a bit longer, feels a bit heavier, feels a bit stickier, you're having to use extra thought, where it's just not worth your effort, just not worth your energy. If you can, rather than get frustrated and like annoyed, like frustration's a good example of something to maybe change. Rather than using the frustration and getting really annoyed at it, the frustration can be a signal to be like, what can I actually do? What process or system, or how could I make this more effective? How could I make this better? How could I make this simpler? That's one of the questions I love to ask myself. How can I simplify this? How can I make it really clear? How can I make it really easy? How can I make it obvious? All of these things really help me. So thinking about that on your day-to-day basis as well. Anyway, that was a tangent from what I actually wanted to talk about today. I could literally do a whole podcast episode. I could do a whole thing on that. Like, it's like my jam is seeing something and being able to simplify it, build a system out of it, make it just easier and more streamlined. And I think sometimes it's easier to see with other people as well. But anyway, I am able to do it in my own life as well. And it almost becomes like a game. It's like, ooh, how could I make this even better? How could I make this more efficient? How could I make this more effective? How could I make this basically so my lazy brain doesn't have to do as much thinking and figuring out, and I don't have to do as many steps in the house, trying to go somewhere, something's not there, going somewhere else. Like that is not fun. That is exhausting. And I've done it for years and no more. So anyway, right. Okay. What I want to get onto today is bending time. Now, I've spoken about time a little bit on this podcast. What's really interesting is when I started the coaching business, it was mainly time that I was coaching on, because this is something, especially as someone with ADHD, and those of us who have ADHD, we have time blindness, meaning we don't process and interpret time in the same way. We often can like overestimate how much we're able to do. We can get so caught up in like something either feels really urgent or like so not urgent at all. There's almost like it's this like, okay, this has to be done right now, or forget about it. And then almost we can completely forget about it until it becomes urgent again. So it's the like the now or the not now. And because I think I've spoken about this on a previous episode, because the amount of dopamine in our system, and those of us with ADHD, myself included, have a lower level of dopamine and lower uptake of dopamine because of our brain chemistry and because the way our brain works. Dopamine is linked to how we interpret time. I think I must have talked about this before. Anyway, the Huberman Lab podcast, Dr. Andrew Huberman talks about this, and he like breaks it all down. He does a lot of stuff on ADHD and like the brain and dopamine, and talks about how when there's less dopamine in the system, it almost like slows time down. I'll link the podcast in the show notes if you want to go to listen to the other one. Anyway, it doesn't actually, like, the specifics of it doesn't matter. I didn't double check them before this because I didn't think I'd actually be going on to, like, if I'd mapped out what I was going to chat about. I didn't think I'd get into the like specifics of it. But basically, the key thing to know is that those of us who have ADHD, we have time blindness. And even those of us who do, like, if you're neurotypical, you're not neurodivergent, you don't have ADHD, you still might have, I guess, like, I don't want to say challenges with time. I guess you might have a challenging relationship with time. There we go. For so many reasons. And one of them is, if you think about it, like in our society, in our culture, what you've probably grown up hearing, especially if you're neurodivergent, especially if you have ADHD, like for me, where because of the time blindness, I'm like, la la la, cool, I can do all these other things before I leave in 5 minutes. And then it's like, I've not done all this. I did this yesterday. I went to the opticians and I left so much time to drop my son off as grandparents, chat to them. I was like, I'm gonna leave in 15 minutes. I have plenty of time to park and do all this. and ended up just not. I didn't set an alarm, which is what I normally do. And I was so early, everything was so relaxed the whole morning. And I left. So I was like, oh, I can just, yeah, I've got time for like a cup of tea and a piece of toast. Like, of course, that's a great. I didn't have time for that and a chat and then to say bye before I went and then get in the car and then realize, oh, wait, I have to drive. Wait, I have to then park the car, pay for the parking, then I have to walk to the, I just hadn't accounted for all that. I think I had in my head and then I didn't. I tried to fit in like so many things. It's like, hobby, yeah, of course I've got time for this. It's like, no, I actually don't. So I grew up, this was very common where my family would be ready and waiting for me, and I would have forgotten something inside, or I'd have to go back. And so there's always this, like, especially if you're neurodivergent, this like feeling quote unquote behind, being the last one, being late, rushing, because it's almost like I've got plenty of time. They're like, everything's like this bad rush. And we get fed from society, like, oh, there's not enough time, there's not enough time, this is late, this is late. And we feel this pressure. And especially because our brains are wired to look for, they have this negativity bias to look for like everything that's not working, everything that we don't have. So, say we're working, it's the same with goals, whether it's goals or time. If we're working on a goal, our brain automatically will go to how we're not there yet and how far we still have to go and how it's not working and how it's going to take so long. It's the same with time. Our brain automatically will just go to, because this is kind of how we've been brought up in society and the negativity bias of our brain, it will go to how little time we have left, how there's not enough time, how there's like we still have so many things to do in this shorter space of time. And it's basically a scarcity mindset. So, an abundance mindset is where our brain naturally, and we do this by rewiring it and by focusing and redirecting when it wants to go to the scarcity of not having enough of something, like not having enough time. We redirect it again and again and again. This is literally one of the core things that I do with my clients with coaching is like pulling the brain back, focusing on what they do have, the progress they have made, where they things are working, how they are good at that, where they've done things in the past. And it's the same with time, focusing on how much time there is rather than how much time there isn't or how much time has already passed. It's like just this ongoing process of redirecting, rewiring our brain, because it will automatically go to there's not enough time, there's not enough time. Like even if you think, if you wake up in the morning, just watch your brain before you start retraining it and rewiring it. Guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed, it will go to how you've not had enough sleep, how there's not enough time to get to do whatever the thing is you want to do, or how you've slept in later than you thought. It's like as soon as we wake up, if we don't consciously program our brain to focus on what we do have, the abundance mindset, it will slip into scarcity and it just will feed us this again and again and again over the course of the whole day. And then we look at our clock and we realize there's not enough time, there's not enough time. And it's this constant loop. And here's the thing, like when we are in that place, in that scarcity mindset place, and our brain just is constantly looking at the clock, there's not enough time, I haven't done this, I have all the things we haven't done, all the time we don't have, how there's not enough time, how we're behind, it just is like this constant loop. We feel stressed, we feel panic, we feel fear, we feel uncertain, we just feel this like dread, basically. And when we're in that place, well, first of all, it's so stressful for our body being in a stress state, having cortisol and adrenaline just pumping through our body again over and over and over for an entire day. And all our brain's thinking about is like, it's not enough, not enough time, not enough time. I'm late, I'm late, I'm like, so there's like constant thing. We're in a stress state. When we're stressed, we're not accessing creativity, innovative thinking, like long-term thinking. We're only focused on the short term, only focused on how there's not enough time right now or until in this hour or like for this day. We become so short-sighted, so narrow-minded. So we're in a survival place. And when we're stressed, that's when we make mistakes. That's when we rush. That's when we rush into a meeting and we've not planned properly. And then we realize we don't even need to be in the meeting at all. And so when we're talking about bending time, we're talking about like, how do we, I guess it's like making the most of the time we have. but also realizing that we actually get to control time. And one example could be like just pausing before a meeting, taking some breaths, and checking in like, okay, what are the key points I want to put across, and showing up in a different way that's going to like lead the meeting and lead the energy and shift how everyone else is feeling in the room. Like we have so much more control and agency than we realize over time and our experience of time and what we're able to create. And when you think, when we're in that panic place, in that scarcity mindset of not enough time, and we are rushing and we are making mistakes, and maybe we're in such a panic that we can't even think, wait, do I need to do this? Oh, wait, an email's just pinged up. Oh, I'll do this. And we're like jumping back and forth between things. If we stay in that, we're actually using so much more time, using so much more energy than, and like, we're just not like enjoying our life. We're not enjoying our time. And it actually is using more time to get, like, if there was some email we wanted to send and it's just like, oh, I don't have enough time for this, and we're panicking, we're jumping around from different thing to thing and rushing, and maybe we make a mistake and then someone has to come back and correct the mistake, and then we haven't attached the document or whatever to the email, and someone's like, you've not attached it because we were in a rush thinking there's not enough time. Like, that is using more time and using more energy, and it's just not fun. Trust me, I did this for years. It's not fun. And there's completely another way of being. And I'll talk a little bit about it today, but I also want to, and I'll put the link in the show notes as well for this. Like, I'm doing whole free training before I go on mat leave. I'm going on mat leave in mid-December, 18th of December. Before I go, I want to do free training on this. So on the Friday, the 5th of December, the day before my birthday, day before I'm 40, I'm like getting in there, the last training of my 30s. I am doing literally a whole workshop on this where we will actually dive into it in a bit more detail. I just want to chat through like some of the elements of it today. So I'll put the link in the show notes. Like, do sign up for that. I have totally lost focus. Oh my God. I got distracted by my birthday. Okay. Where, okay. So I'll give more information about the free training, but one, like how we think, and we're not really taught, like we're never, if you think about this, we go through school, we're taught how to like do maths and do this and do English and do these other things and memorize dates. We're not taught how to understand how time works, understand how our mind works, understand how our emotions work, how actually that influences our time, how to plan, how to make decisions, like all of this stuff. Like we're not taught how to manage our time, especially, and then maybe we get into, if there's something that you get into like me, it's very easy to get into, okay, this is how non-neurodivergent people plan their time, and they do this, and it's like they can have maybe a more consistent energy output, and their energy is less variable, so they can plan to do these things on these days. And like I used to do this of planning out like my whole week, like every single part of it, and I used to teach this as well, and yet it didn't account for my variable energy levels, and then I would just get exhausted and just be like, I can't do this, like this isn't working for me. And we don't get to like trying to use a neurotypical way of planning if you're neurodivergent also doesn't work, or like planning and like managing your time also doesn't work. So there's so many elements, like we don't get taught this. We often get shamed or hear different things from society, or we get in trouble for being late, or we think that there's not enough time. Like all of this is coming in and we don't get taught how to do it. And so it's so easy to be like, I'm just terrible at time. Time is this like big thing outside of us that's just feels, it can feel so out of control. And it's like, oh, however much I do, like there's always more to be done, and I'm so busy. And so this, we'll talk about all this more in the training, but one of the key things to know is that we control our experience of time. Okay? We control our experience of time by how we are thinking, stories that we tell about what we're doing, about time, about life, and that drives how we're feeling. If we are, again, feeling rushed, feeling panicked, everything feels like it's speeding up, and it can feel like our whole experience of life and of living and whatever we're doing is rushed and feels like, it can feel like it's just running away with us, and it's like, this panic when we were just feeling calm and flowy and creative, and we have a regulated nervous system and we are thinking at a higher level. That is how we bend time, because we change our entire experience of it. And I'm going to give you like a specific example. So this happened last week. Mapped it out of like, okay, these are the key things I want to get done in the day. I put it like in time blocks in my calendar, and I woke up and I just felt so heavy. So many just like heavy waves of feelings. And I was trying to focus and do the things, and I just couldn't. And I just found myself like wanting to distract myself, and I would try and plan, and I couldn't, like, I just couldn't think. I was in such a dysregulated place, like state, my nervous system, like I couldn't think straight. And then I was beating myself up because it was whatever time, and I don't know, maybe it was like 11, and I hadn't started the things that I had thought I would do by the morning, because I almost like physically couldn't. I just wanted to crawl into bed and hide and just be like, I can't do today. Like, I'm just gonna not do it. I was like, no, this is not what we're doing. But I did go and lie in bed, and I just processed through feelings. And I do this in lots of different ways. I've got a free meditation. I'll put that's in the show notes. So like if you don't know how to process through feelings, or you've never done it before, get the free meditation. It honestly will like change your life. It changed my life. And just you listen to that, processed it through, did EFT tapping, like just was like shaking out, just like lots of breathing, just processing through, moving through the feelings, had like massive cries, just got it all out, and was still like, okay, I feel better, but I'm still not there yet. And I went out for a walk, and I looked at the time and I looked at what was in my calendar, and luckily I was just, because I've practiced this as well, I was so kind to myself. It was like, it's okay. We're getting to the point where like I can even rethink and remake a plan. We're moving the emotions out of my body. They need to go. Went out for a walk, just felt so much better. Did some more breathing, had another cry when I was out there. Like the emotions kept coming in waves and waves and waves. Did some more tapping, and then actually felt in this place where I just felt so calm, so like myself. And I just sat with my intuition, which again is something I teach my clients, like how to tap into their intuition. And oftentimes, if you don't know how to tap into it, or you're not able to, it's because it sits under the kind of surface level feelings and emotions that often can cloud, where like we feel a certain way. Once we can process them through, we can tap into our intuition, like our inner knowing. And I just asked myself, I just sat on this bench looking out on the view, closed my eyes, and just asked myself, what are the next steps? As in, I had this day, I thought I would get these things done. 2, 3 hours had passed where I just wasn't able, like, was not able to. I tried to sit and focus. I couldn't, like, I can't force myself to do that. And I know that I'm just not gonna, like, I'm not gonna be productive in that way, or not gonna be effective. So I'm just like, it's better to step away and actually just process through things. Okay, these hours have gone. This is the time I have left in between like calls and whatever else I had on for the day. It was like, this is the time I have. What are the next steps? And 4 things came up. I didn't have my phone, had actually died, so I didn't even have like somewhere to write it down. So I just kept saying them over and over in my head. And it was just this like calm, deep inner knowing. It's like, okay, these are the things. And again, because I've done a lot of this work, I was able to anchor myself back. My brain kept going to, before this, it was like, there's not enough time. You've wasted all this time. You haven't done this, da da da. And I'm like off in these spirals. And I was able to, after I processed it through and had my 4 things, I came back to, there's plenty of time, and I bend time. Like this is something that is a belief I love, and I find so powerful to just anchor into. Is like, I bend time. Time doesn't, it's not this thing that exists. Like I get to bend it depending on my emotional experience. And went back, had these 4 things, which were slightly different than what I'd originally planned, but actually we're getting to the same outcome, if you see what I mean. It's like because I was calm, I was able to think at a different level. And I'd thought, okay, these are the things I want to do, and this is what needs to be done to get to the outcome. And actually, after processing it through, tapping into my intuition, it was like, no, it's these things. These are the things. These are the next things. I sat down and literally did them all in probably a third of the time that I had originally planned to like. It's like by the end of the day, I will have got to this place, and I got to that place in a slightly different order, doing slightly different things, and in a third of the time. It was, I mean, it's wild. Like, that is how you bend time. Like, I didn't need 6 hours to do these things. I just needed two. But two hours knowing, being very clear what I wanted to do, being in a very like calm and grounded and like feeling powerful place, and a feeling that these things were really important and that they mattered, and thinking about that like bigger level of connection and helping someone or whatever, these bigger things that I often tap into as well, rather than when I'm in this emotional state, all I can think about is myself and how, oh, this and that, and oh, this and this. It's like when I can process it through, allow myself to cry, and then like get out for a walk and just shift the feelings, then I can tap back into that bigger purpose, that bigger vision, and actually being able to show up and be useful and help someone. Like, that's how we make more impact. That's how we bend time, is we realize, wait, these things didn't need done. It's okay to like process through feelings. And then it means the time that we do have is so much more potent. And actually, the day felt amazing because I'd had like, I just needed a few hours to like rest, to process, to go out for a walk. And I had such a nice walk as well. It was so amazing being out. Whereas before, it's like, I don't have time to go out for a walk. I have to get these things done. I haven't started them. No, no, no. It's like plenty of time. I get to bend time. So I went out for a walk, processed through all of this stuff, felt so much lighter, so much clearer, so much more focused. And then was like, boom, 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 did them in the third of the time. It's wild. And like, again, I'm going to dive into this more on the 5th. So do sign up if you want to understand. And like, I'm going to get really into like the tools so you can take this away. The first thing, if you want to be starting on this now and actually taking this away and have some homework and really practice it, go to the show notes, download the free guided meditation. This is the same meditation I use, I give to my clients, and it walks you through how to process your feelings, because we don't get taught this either unless you have a very emotionally mature caregivers who have done this work themselves. But like, growing up as this wasn't really known or taught, or like, I guess some people maybe have been. Like, I wasn't taught how to process feelings. Like, it's only been more recently. And yet, when we can process through our feelings, we come into this calm, grounded place, then we can tap into greater thinking. Then we can realize, wait, I can just send this email like this, or wait, it doesn't need an email, it just needs a quick phone call. Or we can think on a higher level. And the things that we thought we had to do, that there wasn't enough time to do, and we have to do all these things, it just does, like, it almost like dissolves some of the to-dos. We can get so into when we're in the scarcity mindset of, I have to do these things, there's not enough time, how do it's like on the to-dos, when we can just come back to that feeling of groundedness and calm, we realize we don't actually have to do as much. There's just maybe a few potent things we can do, and that's going to move us where we need to go, or where we want to go. So go and download free guided meditation. And any time that you find yourself in a place where you're like, there's not enough time, or you feel that panic coming up, step away. The meditation's only 6 minutes. Download it, save it to your phone, put in your headphones, go to the toilet, and just process it through. And then come back to, there's plenty of time, and just see what comes up. Or like, what are the next steps? You can ask yourself that as well. So go and do that. That is your homework, to just like practice in your own way, bending time. Or like, how could I do this? I guess with the stuff I chatted about at the beginning, like, how could I do this in a more effective way? Or how can I simplify this? Maybe all these things don't need done. But again, when we're in a stress state, in panic mode, we're like, we don't have the mental capacity to question stuff. We're just like, doing rush, frantic. When we can really ground ourselves, calm ourselves down, then that's when we think at higher level, and when we get to just change our whole experience of time. Like, that day was just such a different day. And it just felt like the amount I got done in 2 hours, but the 2 hours didn't feel rushed. It was just this like really calm presence of just like, okay, and then I do these things. That thing is done. Yeah, and now we're on to this, and that thing is done. And it was just such an enjoyable experience. And this is how my day-to-day work now versus, even just a few years ago, like pre-coaching and pre-figuring out all this work, where there would just be this panic and rush. And it was like, there never felt like enough time. I was always in this panic. And then I realized, wait, I get to choose that. I get to change it. I get to bend time. I'm in control of time. I've changed my entire experience of time. And when you realize that your time, like this is something I always also come back to, your time is your life. Like, it's not like life happens after you get these things done, because there's always more things to do. There is like infinite things to do that your brain will find if it's trying to find them all. And then it's like you do all the things onto the next thing, and then you die, which sounds a bit morbid, but it's the same with like goals. It's like if we're always chasing the goal to reach this place of satisfaction and we've arrived, we'll never get there because we've never practiced the feeling of satisfaction and being present. So just because we do a goal, there's more things to do, and then we die, literally. So your time is your life. How you experience time, every moment of time, is how you experience your entire life. Are you present? Are you enjoying the moments? Are you allowing yourself to tap into your creativity and really lose yourself in the moment and just create and just know that you're focusing on stuff that's really important? Or are you in this like panic that I used to be? No shame if you are, in which case suddenly like weeks and months and years will pass and it's like, what have I even been doing? And we're not even able to be present and experience it. And I get it, like this was me. So if this is you, well, come to the training on the 5th of December, and there's some other fun stuff coming as well. Sign up to that and go and download the free guided meditation. Put it on your phone, get it in your headphones, step away if you find yourself on the treadmill, and just practice bringing yourself back down, and you will notice such a shift. Okay, I hope that was helpful. It was a little bit, I know it jumped all over the place a little bit, but let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. And I can't wait to see you in the 5th. It's been so long since I've done like an in-person live training. And I think maybe it's like I've just been I've done an in-person one, an online one. And maybe I've just been figuring out like what the angle is. But this, I just know I'm like, okay. And there's something really fun coming, which I'm going to talk about on the 5th as well. So lots of really cool things. I know you're going to love this. I know it's going to be so useful and so helpful. And honestly, these tools have changed my life and the life of lives of my clients. And the meditation is one of those. So go and get that and then come to the free training. And then I'm going to tell you about some other fun stuff coming. Okay. Have an amazing day and an amazing week ahead. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening. If this was helpful, please hit subscribe and leave a review. This helps get this work in the hands of more purposeful people. That is, more people creating bigger, scarier goals, making an even bigger impact in the world. And if you want to take this work deeper and work with me directly, head to the show notes and I've put all of the information there. If you've got any questions or if there's anything you're like, ooh, I'd love you to talk about that on the pod, please just get in touch. I love hearing from you guys. And I'll see you next time in the Scary Goals Club.